15 million Snickers bars, every single day, from one factory. That's not a typo. That's over 10,000 bars every single minute, rolling off a production line that never stops. Caramel, peanuts, nougat, chocolate, millions of times over, with zero room for error. Today, we're going inside to see exactly how they pull it off. A Snickers bar feels simple. You unwrap it, you eat it, you move on with your day. But making one, at this scale, with total consistency, 15 million times a day, that's an entirely different challenge. What you're about to see is the complete process. From raw peanuts and sugar arriving at the facility, all the way to a finished, wrapped bar leaving the factory floor. Coming up, we're going inside one of the largest candy manufacturing operations in the world. But there's one specific stage in this process where the timing has to be perfect, down to seconds, or the entire batch fails. We'll get there. Let's start from the beginning. Let's break down what 15 million actually means. Divide that by 24 hours, and you're looking at over 600,000 bars every single hour. Divide that further, and it's more than 10,000 bars every minute, non-stop, without pause, all day, every day. At that scale, even the smallest mistake doesn't just ruin one bar. It can ruin thousands before anyone catches it. So how do they prevent that? It starts with raw ingredients, and a level of precision most people would never expect from a candy bar. Every Snickers bar begins with peanuts. Not just any peanuts, specific varieties, sourced from specific growing regions, meeting exact quality standards before they're ever allowed near the production floor. The peanuts arrive at the facility in bulk, and the first thing that happens isn't roasting, it's inspection. Automated systems and trained workers check for size consistency, moisture content, and any signs of damage or discoloration. Because here's the thing, peanuts that don't meet spec don't just taste different. They can throw off texture, consistency, even shelf life. At a scale of 15 million bars a day, close enough isn't a category that exists. Once approved, the peanuts move into industrial roasters. The temperature and timing here are tightly controlled. Too short, and the peanuts taste raw and bland. Too long, and they turn bitter, burnt, unusable. The roasting has to hit a precise window, every single batch, every single time. After roasting, the peanuts get salted and prepared for the next stage, sitting ready, waiting for the moment they'll be folded into the candy itself. While the peanuts are roasting, somewhere else on the factory floor, the nougat is being made. Nougat is the foundation of a Snickers bar, that soft, slightly chewy layer that holds everything together. It's made primarily from sugar, corn syrup, and egg whites or a similar whipping agent, combined and aerated to create that distinctive light texture. This is where things get scientific. The ingredients get cooked at specific temperatures, then whipped at controlled speeds to incorporate air into the mixture. Too much air, and the nougat becomes too light and falls apart structurally. Too little, and it becomes dense, heavy, wrong. The whipping process has to hit an exact consistency, measured constantly by sensors, and verified by experienced operators who know exactly what the right texture should look like. Once the nougat reaches the correct consistency, it gets spread into a continuous sheet, moving along a conveyor system, ready for the next layer to be added. Here's where we arrive at the stage we mentioned, the one where seconds matter more than anywhere else in this entire process. Caramel is cooked separately, in large kettles, using sugar, corn syrup, and milk products heated to a precise temperature. And caramel making is unforgiving. There's a narrow window between perfect and ruined. Too little heat, too little time, and the caramel stays soft, won't set properly, won't hold its shape when layered onto the nougat. Too much heat, even by a few degrees, and the sugars start to burn, turning the caramel bitter, dark, and completely unusable. This is the stage where timing has to be exact. Down to seconds, the caramel gets cooked, monitored constantly through temperature sensors, and pulled at precisely the right moment. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. Get this wrong, and it's not one bar that fails. It's an entire batch, potentially thousands of bars worth of caramel, ruined in the time it takes to glance away. Once the caramel hits that perfect point, it gets poured immediately onto the nougat layer below. While it's still hot, still pliable, still able to bond correctly with what's underneath it. There's no waiting, no pause. The process moves forward instantly, because caramel doesn't wait for anyone. With the nougat as the base and caramel poured on top, the roasted peanuts get distributed evenly across the surface, pressed slightly into the still warm caramel so they bond securely into the bar. This layering process happens on a continuous moving line. The nougat, caramel, and peanuts are combined in one long, unbroken sheet, stretching the length of the production floor. Sensors monitor thickness and consistency throughout, ensuring that every section of that sheet matches every other section exactly. Because remember, 15 million bars a day means there's no room for this one's a little different. Every bar needs to weigh the same, look the same, taste the same. Consistency isn't a nice-to-have here, it's the entire business model. Once the combined layers cool slightly and set, the long sheet moves toward cutting. The combined sheet, nougat, caramel, and peanuts all bonded together, gets cut into individual bar-sized pieces using high-speed cutting blades. This isn't a slow, careful process. It's happening at incredible speed, with blades calibrated to produce bars of exact, identical size and weight. If the cutting equipment drifts even slightly out of calibration, bars come out too big, too small, or unevenly shaped, so the equipment gets checked constantly. Sensors verify dimensions on a continuous basis, flagging any deviation immediately, so adjustments can be made before defective bars pile up. What comes off this stage are individual candy bar cores, nougat, caramel, and peanuts, cut to size, ready for the final transformation that makes a Snickers bar instantly recognizable. This is the moment the bar gets its identity. The cut cores move along a conveyor and pass through a chocolate enrober, a machine that completely coats each bar in a continuous flow of melted milk chocolate. The chocolate itself has to be at a precise temperature, warm enough to flow smoothly and coat evenly, but not so warm that it runs off or fails to set properly afterward. As each bar passes through the enrober, chocolate flows over the top, down the sides, completely covering the core in one smooth, even layer. Excess chocolate gets shaken off through controlled vibration, just enough to leave a clean, even coating, without leaving the bar too thin in spots or too thick in others. Then the bars move into a cooling tunnel, where carefully controlled temperatures cause the chocolate to set quickly and properly, giving it that signature snap when you bite into it. Once the chocolate has set completely, the bars move toward packaging. High-speed wrapping machines take each bar and seal it in its wrapper, at a speed that's honestly hard to comprehend when you watch it happen. These machines aren't just fast, they're precise. The wrapper has to be sealed completely, no gaps, no openings. Because that wrapper is what keeps the bar fresh, protects it from moisture and air, and ensures it tastes exactly the same whether it's eaten the day it's made or months later from a store shelf. Sensors verify seal quality on every single bar. Any bar with an improperly sealed wrapper gets automatically rejected, pulled from the line before it ever reaches a box, let alone a store shelf. From there, properly wrapped bars get grouped, boxed, and palletized for shipment, and even this stage, the one that looks the simplest from the outside, runs with the same level of precision as everything that came before it. Wrapped bars move along a conveyor in tightly controlled groups, feeding into automated boxing machines that count, align, and pack them with mechanical consistency. Get the count wrong, even by one bar, and an entire case doesn't match its label, which becomes a problem the moment it reaches a retailer, expecting an exact quantity. So sensors track every single bar going into every single case, verifying counts in real time before a box ever gets sealed. Once boxed, the cases move toward palletizing, robotic arms or automated stacking systems that arrange boxes into uniform, stable pallets, layer by layer, optimized for both space and weight distribution. This isn't random stacking. The pattern is engineered, ensuring pallets hold together securely through transport, loading, and the inevitable jostling of a long truck ride. From there, the pallets get wrapped in protective film, sealing in freshness, protecting against moisture, and keeping everything stable for the journey ahead. Then, they're moved into the shipping area, staged and organized by destination, ready to be loaded onto waiting trucks. And here's what makes this stage just as demanding as anything happening earlier on the line. The shipping schedule has to match production exactly. Trucks aren't waiting around. They're scheduled, timed, and coordinated so that finished product moves out almost as fast as it's made. Warehousing space is limited, and at 15 million bars a day, product can't simply sit and accumulate. It has to flow. So by the time one truck pulls away from the loading dock, fully loaded, the next one is already backing into position. Because the entire system, from peanuts roasting to trucks departing, is designed to move continuously, without gaps, without delays, and without exception. And by the time that truck reaches the highway, the next batch of peanuts is already roasting, the next batch of caramel is already cooking, and the next sheet of nougat is already being spread. The cycle never actually stops. 15 million times a day, every single day. Now, here's what all of this actually adds up to, and why this level of precision matters more than you might think. Here's what's really happening behind 15 million bars a day. It's not one machine doing one job. It's dozens of precisely timed processes. Roasting, whipping, cooking, layering, cutting, coating, wrapping, boxing, all running simultaneously, all synchronized to the second, all designed around one unbreakable rule. Every single bar has to be identical to the last. Think about that for a moment. Caramel that has to hit its exact temperature within seconds. Nougat whips to a precise consistency. Chocolate cooled at an exact rate. None of these stages are simple. And yet none of them are allowed to fail. Not once. Not out of millions of attempts every single day. That's not luck. That's not just automation either. It's engineering, discipline, and obsessive consistency. Built into a system so reliable that you've probably never even noticed it. You just unwrap a Snickers bar, take a bite, and it tastes exactly like it always does. That sameness, the thing you never think twice about, is actually the hardest part to achieve. If this kind of behind-the-scenes precision fascinates you, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. Because what's coming next on this channel is built for exactly the kind of person who watched this all the way through. Drop a comment below, tell us which factory or product you want us to go inside next. Your suggestion might just become our next video. See you inside the next one.